Hello, and welcome to the 56th episode of Jazzology, presented by Savage Content. I'm your host, Willard Jenkins. We're here alternating Fridays, giving two jazz fans the opportunity to compete against each other for a chance to win $100. Each contestant will be asked a question worth 2 points. If they're unable to answer correctly, their opponent will have a chance to steal the question for 1 point. We'll ask 10 questions, and at the end of the 10 questions, the person with the lowest score will get a bonus question for the opportunity to tie the score, no matter how far they're behind in the score. If they're successful, the game will go to sudden death. The person in the lead at the end of regulation will go first, and each contestant will take turns trying to answer the sudden death multiple choice questions until we have a winner. And now let's meet this week's Jazzology contestants. Our reigning Jazzology champion is Matt Merewitz. As founder and director of Fully Altered Media since 2007, Matt Merewitz has become known as one of the most in-demand publicists and consultants in the world of creative music. Matt resides north of New York City with his wife, daughter, and his chocolate labradoodle. Sonny, was that had anything to do with Sonny Rollins?
Yes.
Our challenger for the 56th episode of Jazzology is Bruce Greeley, a former librarian based in the Seattle area. Bruce has been a contributor to Seattle's monthly Earshot Jazz magazine, which I get every month.
All right.
He is also a bass clarinetist and a radio programmer at KBFG FM. Additionally, Bruce has hosted his own jazz trivia contest, so Bruce must be ready for this one.
I hope so.
All right, and now let's get to today's Jazzology. And as is custom, our reigning champion, Matt Merewitz, goes first. You ready, Matt?
I am ready.
Okay, Matt. Guitarist John Scofield was once a member of what jazz fusion band? Was that A, the Billy Cobham George Duke Band, B, the Brecker Brothers, C, Return to Forever, D, White Elephant, or E, none of the above?
This is a tough one. I think that I know that Scofield was never in Return to Forever, and I don't know the band White Elephant. I have this feeling that it's either A or B. I have some kind of association in my head between George Duke and Scofield, and I don't think he toured with the Brecker Brothers. He definitely played with Michael Brecker, and he probably played with Randy Brecker at some point too, but not in the Brecker Brothers. So I'm going to have to say A, Billy Cobb and George Duke.
And that is correct. John Scofield was once a member of the Billy Cobham George Duke Jazz Fusion Band. Bruce, your turn.
All right.
Bruce, which of the following tenor saxophonists worked as a mail carrier in Washington, D.C.? Would that be A, Paul Carr, B, Marshall Keys, C, Davy Yarborough, D, Buck Hill, or E, Antonio Parker?
Wow, I was a little bit intimidated about coming back on this because the questions get harder every week. And I know that Mingus was a mail carrier, but he's not one of those choices. I don't even know some of these guys, but I'm just going to go with, I think D, Buck Hill, the DC guy. Right.
That is correct. And Matt Merewitz grew up in the DMV, so he might have known that one. So I was going to give him that question. But Matt, you're up next, and the score is 2-2. Matt, which of the following Hammond B3 organ players did Joe Lovano include on his 1986 Hometown Sessions album? Was it A, Joey DeFrancesco, B, Jimmy McGriff, C, Lawrence Jacktown Jackson, D, Mike LeDunn, or E, Dr. Lonnie Smith?
So this was actually, I believe, before Lovano kind of made it in New York. If I'm like, he might have been in the Woody Herman band before this, but I guess he might have, he might have been in the Vanguard band at that time, the Dad Jones Mel Lewis. So I have a hunch that it's a name that people don't know. For that reason, I guess, I know Lovano played with Joey D. I know he played with Dr. Lonnie. He probably played with Jimmy McGriff, like, early on, because so many people did. But I think that the answer is C, Lawrence Jacktown Jackson.
And that is correct. And Bruce, you saw that Matt went through the whole process of elimination on that one.
Right.
And I guess the key trick to that question was indeed, as he suggested, the one that he wasn't familiar with. And that indeed was Lawrence Jacktown Jackson from my hometown, Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow.
And Joe's hometown, Cleveland, Ohio, as well. So, Bruce, time to catch up. Bruce, in 1964, Wayne Shorter joined the Miles Davis Quintet. Whose place did Wayne Shorter take on the saxophone in the Miles Davis Quintet? Was it A, Sonny Stitt, B, Hank Mobley, C, Sam Rivers, D, George Coleman, or E, none of the above?
Wow, great question. And I feel like it's kind of a trick question. I know that Hank and George were both in Miles' band and very close to that time. But I think the last person in his band who was very short-lived with Miles, and they didn't mesh really well. But I believe C, Sam Rivers was in his band, and they did an album in Tokyo even. But hopefully that's right.
That's your answer, C?
C, yeah.
That's incorrect. Matt has an opportunity to steal the question, to steal the point. Matt, in 1964, Wayne Shorter joined the Miles Davis Quintet. Whose place did he take on the saxophone in that band? Was it A, Sonny Stitt, B, Hank Mobley, and C, Sam Rivers has been eliminated, or D, George Coleman, or E, none of the above?
So, I know that George Coleman was in the band for Live at the Black Hawk, and that was right around that time, maybe a little bit before. This is tough. I mean, like, George Coleman was only in it for a limited amount of time, after which Coltrane rejoined. but I could be wrong on that. So I kind of feel like maybe this is a trick question, and it might be Train. Can I phone a friend? I'm gonna go. This could be either one. I'm gonna go with D. George Coleman.
That's correct. And Train was totally out of the picture by that point. Bruce had something when he named Sam Rivers, but as he suggested, Sam was only in there for a short time for a record they did in Japan, and as Sam relates, as Bruce relates, Sam didn't mesh well with that band. In fact, Sam used to say he was beyond that stylistically, he was beyond that point at that point in his career. But it was George Coleman, and then Wayne Shorter took George Coleman's place. So, Matt, you're up next. Matt, at the age of 14, when David Sanborn was 14, which blues legend did he play with? Was it A, B.B. King, B, Muddy Waters, C, Little Milton, D, Big Mama Thornton, or E, Paul Butterfield?
So I just read a bunch of David Sanborn obituaries. What I understood was that he got his break with Paul Butterfield, but I would think that that at 14 he would have been younger than when he kind of broke out. So I feel like I know that he played with Hank Crawford, or that he was like influenced by Hank Crawford. And I think that he would have had to have been older when he broke out. I think he was like 21 or 20 when he played with Paul Butterfield. I have this strange feeling that it's Little Milton. I can't really justify that with anything. I could say it could be any of them, but I'm going to say Little Milton.
You're absolutely correct. It was indeed Little Milton that David Sanborn played with as a 14-year-old saxophone player. This week's mid-show break is a call to action for a very talented saxophonist, jazz recording artist, and former Jazzology champion, baritone saxophonist Jason Marshall. Sadly, Jason Marshall's ex-wife unexpectedly passed away recently, which leaves him as sole guardian for their teenage son. It's a tough situation, and we here at Jazzology Trivia Show send our deepest condolences to Jason and his son's loss. A GoFundMe campaign has been set up to help out our friend Jason Marshall. Please see the GoFundMe link listed in the YouTube description of this episode, which is also visible on our Jazzology Instagram, or Savage Content Instagram account. Now, both of you have answered the signature question of how you fell in love with jazz in the past. So we'll switch it up. And Bruce, I'll ask you, what have you been listening to lately?
Well, I got the radio show, and I'm doing lots of. I'm just rediscovering the Thirsty Ear blues series, which I think is really great, innovative. You know, they incorporate like DJ Spooky, guys like that, and but it's cutting edge. And on the liner notes, he's even saying like it's similar to Blue Note in the '60s and ECM in the '70s and '80s, and it's like a really innovative label. So That's one thing I've been listening to. I mean, it's endless, right?
Yeah, right.
Like music is all what it's all about. And I just have to say, I want to give a shout out to your T-shirt there, Jimi Hendrix, my hometown boy.
That's right. Seattle's own.
Yeah.
Matt, what have you been listening to lately? And I can only imagine that that's an endless list of possibilities given your work. But what have you been listening to lately specifically?
So I actually, it's very diverse. I have this account where I'm trying to pull it up now, but I'm having trouble. But it's like it's a thing that tracks my listening. But it's not working at the moment. Anyway, so
see, here's the man who listens to so much that he has to check his account online.
Well, I was listening to Nicole Mitchell earlier. I was listening to over the weekend. I was listening to some Chicago.
So Nicole Mitchell has a new record coming out.
She does. Coming in August, but that was not when I was listening. I was actually listening. I went to a concert put on by Seed Artists, which is Verona Clough and Chris Napierella and all these folks. And it was a Dolphy tribute festival or homage or whatever you want to call it. And it was at the New School, and I saw a duo of Nicole Mitchell and Craig Taborn. And I'm listening to some Nicole work that came out in the '90s or the early 2000s. I think it was called
Black Earth Ensemble.
Yeah, it was one of those early Black Earth Ensemble records on Delmark.
Okay.
Cannot remember the name, but I was also yesterday. I was listening to a wonderful young bass player named Zhong Lim Yang, who's Korean, and she actually made a record of Mary Lou Williams' Zodiac Suite for Fresh Found New Talent a couple of years ago.
I saw that, yes.
And then I was listening to her forthcoming release that's very good, but won't come out until 2025.
Okay. All right. Well, you got some varied listening going on, both of you guys. Both of you doing media work, I imagine you're turned on to a lot of different things, doing a lot of listening. Well, Bruce, you're up next. Bruce, name the trumpeter that the actor Kirk Douglas character in the film Young Man with a Horn was based on. Was that based on A, Wingy Manone, B, Chet Baker, C, Bix Beiderbecke, D, Harry James, or E, none of the above?
Wow. I'm not sure I've seen that movie. I mean, it's on my list. And I'm always wary when you have a none of the above as a choice. I want to always choose that. But I think that for some reason it's I mean, that was like late 30s, I think. So I'm going to go, Young Man with a Horn. There was a biography, I think. We're going to go with C, Bix Beiderbecke, because
that's correct.
Good job.
Kirk Douglas did indeed portray, or shall we say, as they say in Hollywood, loosely portray Bix Beiderbecke in the film Young Man with a Horn. So, Matt, Bruce is catching up. You're up next. Matt, in 1941, the great trumpeter Roy Eldridge joined a band led by what great drummer? Would that have been A, Buddy Rich, B, Gene Krupa, C, Chick Webb, D, Big Sid Catlett, or E, Max Roach?
This is 1941. So he wouldn't have been joining Max Roach's big band because Max Roach was just getting started. You said it was a big band, right?
No, I didn't say big band. I said band.
Oh. Well, I know he played. I have some association of him with Basie, but I have some fleeting association with Fletcher Henderson, but neither of them are drummers. Geez, this is out of my wheelhouse. I mean, gosh. Yeah, you didn't say big band. Roy Eldridge, I mean, 1941. I associate Big Sid Catlett with the 1930s, although I'm sure he was still around in 41. I don't know, like, this is very difficult. I don't have any solid idea. I mean, I'll say Gene Krupa, B.
Oh.
And you heard that deep sigh from Bruce, because I think Bruce knew the answer and was ready to jump on it if you got it wrong. But indeed, it was Gene Krupa, whose band Roy Eldridge joined in 1941.
And Anita O'Day singing too.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So Bruce, in the 2021 Downbeat Magazine Critics Poll, who was selected as the rising star tenor saxophonist? Was it A, Ben Wendell, B, Camille Thurman, C, Nicole Glover, D, Nubia Garcia, or E, John Ellis?
Wow, I guess I should now let my subscription lapse. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of great names there. I don't really know, and I think for some reason I'm just gonna go with D, Nubia Garcia.
That is correct.
Wow.
That is correct. It was indeed Nubia Garcia who was named the rising star tenor saxophonist in the 2021 Downbeat Magazine Jazz Critics Poll. So, Matt, your turn next. Matt, the baritone saxophonist Alex Harding is a member of a band led by which of the following drummers? Would that be A, Kahil El-Zabar, B, Brian Blade, C, Tyshawn Sori, D, Gerald Cleaver, or E, Eric Harland?
So there's really, I think I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this because I think I saw him with Kahil in the last couple of years in the Ethnic Heritage Ensemble, which just celebrated 50 years, which is mind-blowing. Definitely not Blade, definitely not Harland. The only other two it could be are Cleaver and Tyshawn, because they kind of get in that creative, creative jazz zone, whatever you want to call that. But the only person that really, I know all of Tyshawn's recordings very well because I've worked with them, and I don't think it's him. So I'm gonna go with my gut, which is Kahil.
That is correct. It was Kahil El-Zabar and his Ethnic Heritage Ensemble that baritone saxophonist Alex Harding is a member of. Bruce, which of the following jazz vocalists is the daughter of a famous early jazz bandleader? Would that be A, Jasmia Horn, B, Sheila Jordan, C, Catherine Russell, or D, Faye Victor?
Wow. I like that you're doing questions with like relations. I've done one of jazz families myself, but I didn't know this one. So I'm recognizing some last names there that are famous. How about could B. Sheila Jordan be the daughter of famous? Anyway, B. Sheila Jordan.
Oh boy, Matt with a chance to steal the question. Matt, which of the following jazz vocalists is the daughter of a famous early jazz band leader? Would that be A, Jasmia Horn, and B, Sheila Jordan has been eliminated, C, Catherine Russell, or D, Faye Victor?
I know this answer because I read some stories about her. Her mom was a guitar player, I believe. Her name started with a C, Claudine or something like that. But it's Catherine Russell.
Catherine Russell?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Catherine Russell, the daughter of Louis Russell, the great band leader, and also the daughter of the bassist Carlene Ray.
Carlene Ray,
from the Sweethearts of Rhythm.
Right.
So she's a royal lineage, I guess you could say. And now we reach our bonus round, and Bruce has an opportunity to tie the score. So, Bruce, which of the following famed novelists wrote an article about the jazz scene at Minton's Playhouse for Esquire magazine? Would that have been A, Ralph Ellison, B, James Baldwin, C, Herb Boyd, D, Amiri Baraka, or E, Herbie Nichols?
Whatever the answer is, I'm going to go out and find this article right after this because that sounds like a great thing to read. And I was going to guess Pynchon wrote a whole book about Ornette Coleman. Well, no, that was a later year. Okay, let's see. And that was for which it was did you say
Esquire magazine?
Esquire.
On the subject of Minton's Playhouse.
I think I should go with well, it could be boy, Amiri Baraka had some great stuff. Let's go with D, Amiri Baraka.
Uh-oh, that is incorrect. And that means that Matt Merewitz is our reigning champion once again, because the correct answer to that, in terms of which of the following famed novelists wrote an article about the jazz scene in Minton's, was A, Ralph Ellison.
Now, Willard, you may want to check because because I was actually asked that same question on the first time I was on the show, so I knew the answer. So we may want to, but anyway, I'm happy to have played and thank you.
All right. So congratulations to Matt Merewitz on winning our 56th episode of Jazzology. We encourage each and every one of you to try your hand and play Jazzology. And if anyone watching would like to become a contestant on Jazzology, click the link below and simply fill out the form. You must be 18 years old or older, and be sure to follow on social media at Jazzology Trivia Show to get all the latest news and updates. Thanks so much to Matt and Bruce and to everyone who joined us for our 56th episode of Jazzology today. Remember, you can check out Jazzology every other Friday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time And if you missed the show live, you can find the archive on the Savage Content YouTube channel. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.